Hello, and welcome to the Blu-ray Brothers. My name is Nigel, and we are here to talk about John Carpenter Week. We will be discussing the film Halloween. 8 more days till Halloween, 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 Silver Shamrock. What are you doing? What? We all know it's the best one in the series. Oh, bother. On with the show. Hey gang, DVD Collector, back in the movie room, and I am brought to you by the Blu-ray Brothers. Yes, I'm doing a guest appearance on their channel. Very, very proud to be a part of this right now, especially tonight. I was messaged by Luke saying, hey, can you talk about John Carpenter? Can I talk about John Carpenter? So yeah, absolutely, I'm willing to jump in anytime. I love talking about film, as you guys know, and especially horror movies, and John Carpenter is one of my absolute favorites. Unfortunately, Ryan talked about The Fog, and that's my favorite Carpenter film. I love the atmosphere to that movie, everything about it. I'm really big into ghost-type movies, and that is what has always drawn me to The Fog. The score specifically, but John Carpenter does such a good job in all of his movies that just hits me really hard with that one. But I am going to talk a little bit about The Fog anyway, and not necessarily the movie, but about the day I met John Carpenter. Yeah, I met John Carpenter at Horror Hound last year, and it was kind of a sad day. I went to go in line, what I thought was John Carpenter, and it looked really long. And after standing there for a few minutes, I asked the guy in front of me, "Hey, is this Carpenter's line?" And because on the map it should have been. He says, "No, man, this is the line for Hollister. D. Snyder's signing." And I'm like, "Oh wow, yay! Where's John Carpenter's line?" So this lady that worked at the convention was nice enough to take me around the corner to where there were 2 people in line for John Carpenter, and that made me very upset that there was a 3-hour wait for D. Snyder and 2 people standing in line for John Carpenter. He was bored out of his skull. But at the same time, I didn't have to wait for him. And I had my UK edition, Blu-ray edition of The Fog signed by John Carpenter, as you can not read. It's also signed by Nancy Loomis and Charles, always slips my mind, he plays the sheriff in Halloween. But anyway, that's my signed copy of The Fog. A lot of people would get Halloween signed, stuff like that. If I met Jamie Lee Curtis, I would have her sign The Fog too. Just that's how much I love this movie. But what we are going to talk about today, as alluded in the attempt at a sketch at the beginning of this, was Halloween. And I know it's, oh, John Carpenter, of course somebody's going to talk about Halloween. Well, it needs to be talked about. It is a highlight for John Carpenter's career. It is not, and it's not only for his career, but for slashers in general. Although I kind of feel that the slasher started more along the lines of Psycho and Texas Chainsaw, which were both before this, but this is definitely groundbreaking material for any independent filmmaker. And so much has been thought of this film. It's not my favorite Carpenter film. It is number 2, but a lot of people are absolutely in love with this movie. And this is the Blu-ray of Halloween, which is soon to be upgraded to the Halloween box set. I did order it. I do love Halloween. Halloween and Friday the 13th are my 2 favorite horror franchises, and Friday the 13th is more of a guilty pleasure. Halloween has always meant more to me than that. But anyway, let's get into the story first, in case somebody doesn't know about Halloween and you're just watching to watch this channel. Halloween is the story of Michael Myers. In this world of Halloween. We don't know what flipped the switch in this little kid to make him kill his sister. In Rob Zombie's interpretation of Halloween, we see an abusive background. We don't even get that alluded to really in John Carpenter's world. But something, Dr. Loomis says it best as that he's just pure evil. There's nothing. He's just a bad seed from the get-go. He's ready to kill. He would have, if he hadn't killed his sister, he'd have killed somebody else. So they lock him up. He escapes. Donald Pleasance, who, rest in peace, played an amazing Dr. Loomis, takes credit for what has happened and goes and chases him down. Well, Mike is going back to Haddonfield to finish what he started, and that's to clean out his family for some reason. Just so happens it happens on Halloween. So we see this gigantic, I picture Mike Myers as, in John Carpenter's universe, I like the fact that he's a normal-sized guy. There's nothing abnormal about him. He's just emotionless and a monster. That's it. He doesn't have to be 7 foot tall like Taylor Mane, who played him in Rob Zombie's movies. He's just an average-sized guy. He just happens to be wearing a William Shatner mask, and that's scary enough. So he painted the William Shatner mask gray so it wasn't so scary. I'm just kidding. But it is a William Shatner mask. He dons a mask for whatever reason to hide his identity. He did this with the clown mask at the beginning. So whatever his reason for wanting to hide behind the mask, maybe it gives him some inner power. Who knows how psychopaths work. And he goes out to kill his sister, who until this time we don't know is Michael Myers' sister, and that is the very young and talented Jamie Lee Curtis, who makes her debut in this film and also goes on to star in The Fog with John Carpenter later on down the road, the next year. Great film. There are some really good kills in this, but John doesn't have to be a gory mess. We see a little bit in Halloween 2 is where it starts getting a little bit messier, but in this one we don't see a lot, a whole lot of gore. And that's what I really like about these atmospheric movies. And this is a slasher. And Texas Chainsaw, you don't see a lot of gore either. But these set the tones with lighting and music and just the whole ambiance of the mood. That's what kind of horror movies that I've always been attracted to. I love horror movies. It's my favorite genre. But a lot of my favorite horror movies come before 1970 even. I'm a big fan of Vincent Price and Alfred Hitchcock and just earlier stuff. I'm a huge Hammer film fan. Love Universal Monsters, and all those kind of movies, excluding the Hammer, were set with the tone of the movie, and that's why they were scary. And Halloween does a great job with doing that. This is a very low budget. They didn't have a lot of money to do whatever they wanted, and they created an amazing film that has stood the test of time. Probably, if I'm not mistaken, it's still today the highest grossing independent film of all time, and it is beloved by horror fans throughout the world. I'm probably one of the only people in the world that put The Fog above it, and it's just because I prefer that type of a movie to a slasher. The box set comes out sometime in September. I don't know the exact date, from Anchor Bay, Scream Factory. I think it's Scream Factory. Maybe they teamed up. I don't know. There was a big release for it today. They showed the actual discs. They're in black Blu-ray case. They showed it at the San Diego Con today. Full of extras. I mean, there's so many that you can't even really mention them all. We do get finally a producer's cut of Halloween 6, if that means anything to anybody on here. It's a big deal for Halloween and horror fans. It's never been released on actual DVD or Blu-ray. It's always been bootlegged. Because Halloween 6 just doesn't make any sense. It's terrible, and the producer's cut it makes some sort of sense. So that's why they're doing it. We're doing it. I had a part in this. That's why they're doing this for us. as fans. And this box set means a lot to a lot of people, especially me, because for one, we get all these extras. I'm an extra kind of guy. And when I watch a movie, I watch everything on that whole Blu-ray. And I love to see behind the scenes. I have no interest in really making films, or I think being in films would be cool. But I love to see the process that they go through, because I find myself, it's an art. And I love to see, you know, what they do to achieve this and that, especially in these independent horror films like Halloween. They took a big chance on this. They had no idea what they were doing, and all of a sudden, boom. And then all of a sudden, right after that, Sean Cunningham and those guys over at Friday the 13th say, we got to jump on this. And they had, you know, millions of dollars thrown at them saying, yes, make this movie. They didn't even have a script, and they were having money thrown at them because Halloween broke the ground for the slashers, and they just went nuts. And then when the 80s hit, it was slasher after slasher after slasher. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them awful. And some of them, you know, we get The Burning, we get Sleepaway Camp, and they're all because of John Carpenter. And the day that I met Carpenter, the one thing that he did say to me when I laid The Fog down, he said, do you want me to personalize? I said, yeah, can you make it out to James? I always have them personalized because I don't want them to think that I'm selling this. These mean something to me. I am a movie lover. I don't want to sell this for your autograph. I want to own your autograph. I want to have it on my wall. And he looked down at it and he's like, really, The Fog? I was like, absolutely. It's my favorite film of all your films. And he's like, huh, that's interesting. And he signed it, shook my hand. I went on my merry way. He probably went in the back and started playing video games. He's a very avid gamer. But I like to think that it brought something to him, to somebody like The Fog, you know. And it's really highly liked. A lot of people do like The Fog. I joke about it all the time, but it is a really good movie. It also has the worst remake of all time. It is completely awful. But I'm not going to take any more of your time up. I'm rambling, and it's not even my channel. Thank you so much, Luke, Robbie, and Ryan, for inviting me. I'm here anytime for you guys. I enjoy making videos and talking about films. That's it. So until next time, guys, you guys have a great week, and keep watching Facebook. I'll keep sharing the stuff. Keep winning points and win yourself a great, awesome prize. So, till next time, later.